guys, today in the kitchen I wanted to do a dish. I've been like craving Chinese food lately, and I don't really order Chinese that often because I'm always concerned about how much sodium is in it, how much sugar is in it, how much oil's in it. It's always so delicious, but I always just feel like I'm better off making it home myself because it's super easy and I can control all the ingredients and how much of all that stuff is really being added. So one of my favorite things to order at any Chinese restaurant is Mushu chicken. You can also do Mushu pork or beef, but I'm gonna do Mushu chicken with you today. And the main ingredient in the Mushu chicken is cabbage. That's the largest part of the dish, and I love cabbage. So I've got about 5 or 6 cups of cabbage here. And then really, really thinly sliced chicken breasts, which I just salted and peppered and cut into very thin little pieces, you can see here. Lots of mushrooms, and I did shiitake mushrooms mostly because shiitakes hold up well and they'll stay nice and firm. And then I added some oysters on top. I did a little mixture here of some hoisin sauce, soy sauce, low sodium, honey, and a little sesame oil. I also added a tiny bit of quinoa flour in that just to allow the sauce to thicken. We're gonna do eggs, and that will be cooked separately. We'll do that first actually. And then scallion, lots of scallion. This is about 7 scallions and ginger. Mushu typically comes with pancakes, or I've actually been getting these pancakes that I love. They're made with almond flour. You can also get them made with cassava flour, but they're siete, and they're paleo, they're dairy-free, they're all that good stuff, and I really, really enjoy them, and I use them for all kinds of wrap type of things. So I'm gonna go ahead and start with the getting the eggs cooked first. And so we'll head over to the stove. I've been heating up the pan. So I heated up the pan, and I'm using a fry pan. If you have a wok, you can use a wok, but I heated up a frying pan, and I'm just gonna take 2 eggs that I had lightly beaten, and I greased this pan ever so lightly with some avocado oil. You could also use a olive oil, or actually a vegetable oil, if you like. And I'm just gonna let these eggs just cook until it's one even, long, wide pancake. So it's almost cooked. It's been like a few minutes, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to flip this. It's okay if it breaks because you're going to cut it up anyway, but you want to try to get as big as pieces as you can. Just going to flip it just to finish it off. And that avocado oil helped it to come out really nice and easy. And that's pretty much cooked because, eggs are super quick and it was almost already there. And I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to transfer this onto a plate, and I'm going to keep this warm, and I'm going to go ahead and slice it up, and we'll add it back into the dish at the end. I added about a tablespoon more olive oil to that same pan, and now I'm just going to add the chicken. And I'm going to cook the chicken in here, distribute it nice and evenly until it gets browned. And I only put a tiny bit of salt and pepper on this because the sauce that we're going to add at the end is going to have so much flavor that the chicken is going to pick that up. So you just want to add the chicken into the pan. And I mean, this literally is just a few minutes until the chicken starts to get brown. I'm going to turn the flame down a little bit. I'm going to let it cook for a few minutes, and while this is cooking, I'm going to slice that egg that we just took out of the pan first. So you just want to slice the egg in like smallish pieces, like slim, long lines. You're going to throw this back into the pan in the very end. It becomes part of the dish. So you want to make it nice and even. This is 2 eggs. Depending on how much, if you're doubling or tripling the recipe, you'd want to add another, but I'm just adding 2. I think 2 is enough for this. I am making extra though, because this dish will hold up well in the refrigerator, and you can easily reheat it and have some for lunch the next day. So it's been about, I don't know, maybe 5 or 7 minutes, and my chicken is starting to look like it's getting nice and browned. So I'm going to go ahead and take it out, and I'm just going to add it onto the plate with the eggs so I don't have to dirty another plate, and just leave it on the side here while I get the cabbage and the other ingredients, the mushrooms and everything, into this pan. It's perfect because the pan's still nice and hot. And at this point, you don't really need to add any more oil. You can just throw your cabbage right into the pan that you were already using. So you can go ahead and add your cabbage to start to sizzle right away. And remember, this looks like a lot of cabbage, but you know, it's gonna cook down. So I like to put a little extra. And I'm gonna start with the cabbage first. Let the cabbage kind of pare itself down a little bit, wilt down a little bit, and then add the mushrooms, because the cabbage will withstand the heat much longer than the mushrooms will. It's been about maybe 4 minutes, and you can see the cabbage is starting to wilt. I did add 1 more tablespoon of avocado oil just because I felt like it needed it. So now I'm going to go ahead and add in my mushrooms. And, you know, like I said, the mushrooms, I like to use shiitakes because they just hold up well, and they won't, like, completely fall apart, so they'll still have like a nice bite to them or consistency to them. Just gonna mix them in slowly. They again are going to shrink down, and then I'm gonna add lots of scallions. Love scallions, and the scallions will shrink as well. That's looking beautiful right there. And then the ginger, about 2 tablespoons of ginger, finely chopped. If you like more ginger, you can always add more. And then I'm just gonna go ahead and give this a stir and let it start to settle in and get the mushrooms sauteed, the scallions, the ginger, all the goodness. So it'll just be a few minutes. Getting this going, keeping it on the high heat. And then when that's done, we'll add back in the chicken and the egg and the sauce. It's been about maybe 6 or 7 minutes now, and you can see that the cabbage has shrunk, the mushrooms have shrunk. I can smell the ginger, the scallions. It smells absolutely delicious. I've been stirring it, as you see, like this. I love working with tongs for stuff like this. It just keeps it easy. Everything's moving. I'm going to give it like another maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to add in the chicken and the egg, add in the sauce, and we'll be ready to eat. So I'm going to just go ahead now and add back in the chicken and the egg. I'm going to give that all a stir, and then I'm going to put the sauce over top of all of it just to kind of combine it first. So I'm just going to mix it around, get the egg in there, get the chicken mixed in with everything. This looks so yummy. I wish y'all could smell through the camera right now because it smells so good. And then I'm just going to take the sauce that I had previously made with the hoisin, the soy sauce, a little bit of honey. All the measurements, as always, will be on the blog. And I'm just going to mix this around. I did already include in my sauce a little bit of quinoa flour just to allow it to thicken once it was in the pot. And it looks like there's a good amount of sauce for this. It's coating nicely. The chicken and the egg were still warm, so they'll be, you know, everything's kind of already hot and warm. So right now this is just kind of more ceremony of getting the sauce covering everything and giving the sauce a moment to thicken. But I cannot wait to eat this. It's been about, I don't know, maybe 2 or 3 minutes, and everything's nicely mixed. The sauce is thickening. It looks and smells incredible. And in the meantime, I also wrapped those Siete almond flour wraps and wrapped them in foil and put them into the oven so that they could get nice and warm. You can also warm them on the stovetop, but since I had a few minutes, I just did it like that. So I'm just gonna turn this off, let it sit for a minute, and let the sauce just kind of get a little bit more congealed, and then I'm gonna plate it. The Siete flour wraps are nice and warm. I took them out of the oven. I'm gonna have 2 tonight because I'm hungry. You can see there's gonna be lots left over. Ron and I will be able to have some lunch tomorrow. And then you just wanna go ahead and put your filling into the center of each wrap. Oh, this smells so good. I want a little more filling on that one. And then you can go ahead and garnish. I'm just going to add a little fresh scallion on top of each one. A little extra crunchy crunch. And you're ready to go. When you eat them, you just want to give it a little wrap like that and almost like a taco. So this is a really great way to make your own Mushu chicken at home and know all of the ingredients that you're putting into it, how much of everything you're adding, from the sugar to the salt to the oil to all of it. And it is really, really yummy. I hope you enjoy it. This and all the other recipes that I'm making in the kitchen are all on the blog, This Curvy World, so check them out. I hope you enjoy. I'm gonna go have some dinner.